How's it going, guys? John L here. Space season just ended, and we have this new thing over here, Infinity Season. So after reading up a little bit about it, I'm not sure if this is something that they're permanently gonna do, or if this is just another kind of beta test type thing. But I thought it was important to take a look at it because it's not the first time I've seen this pop up, and it looks like a big PvP change that Marvel Puzzle Quest has been kind of playing around with, at least for a little bit. So this in itself, the Infinity Season, they're using as a mini season. It's supposed to kind of look like one of the regular Infinity Gem seasons, except for the fact that they're not having the Shields Simulator. Yeah, Shield Simulator. And it's only limited to 2 events instead of 10 events. The big thing, though, is that it's not going to be about points for progression rewards. It's just going to be points for placement. And for the progressions, it's going to be all about how many wins you have. So it's a different way of doing things. At least the progression portion. The placement portion is staying the same. So let's take a quick look. Here's the overview. So this would be like the overview of any gem season. They're showing you, basically placement ranking, or placement rewards, and, I'm not a huge PvP guy, I can't really tell you what these are. I think these are scaled down anyways, because this is a, abbreviated season. But when we get down to the progression stuff, now instead of a point value to it, there's a win value to it. So again, this isn't new. They've tried this before, and I'm not exactly quite sure what the response was. I didn't really keep up with it. I keep up more with PvE rather than PvP. So I don't know if there was huge blowback or people were in favor of it. I initially thought I was in favor of it. Then I realized how much work this is, and I realized I think I actually like the old system better. So, if we take a look, let's take a look at these overall rewards first, and then we'll jump into the Nefarious Foes event, which will be kind of more analogous to what a regular event in the PvP seasons looks like. So, if you would imagine, you're playing along, and, you get your hero points and your, 3-star covers and all that kind of stuff like that. We keep scrolling down, we get a little bit more command points, and at 31 wins, you get a heroic 10-pack. Right now, off the bat, that seems okay to me. I know for the 10-pack for the regular seasons, that's usually a reward that comes, pretty far down the road. You have to, progress decently well into, each of the events and do a pretty good job on the Shield Simulator to get that. That's something that I shoot for myself since I don't play PvP all that much. I go down further, and obviously these rewards are kind of along the lines of just, I would say these are consolation. Like, to get 400 ISO for 42 wins, I don't think anybody's looking for that. Same thing with, like, 20 hero points for 67 wins. If, like, you think 67 wins for 20 hero points is a good deal, it's not. So, anyways, I would say the heroic 10-pack is the thing to shoot for over here. So 31 wins seems manageable. 67, that's kind of getting up there, especially in 2 events. So we'll jump back and take a look at Nefarious Foes. So this would be, one of the events, like one of the character-specific events in the PvP season. So they have the placement, and of course, it looks the same. You end up winning 4-star covers, a bunch of them, elite tokens, heroic tokens, a lot of hero points, a lot of ISO, all that kind of stuff. And, it scales down depending on how, poorly you do in the event. So, we take a look here, and the reason why I wanted to look at the individual event is because these rewards are the exact same. So, normally a recruit token costs you 50 points, 2 wins, or a 70-50 ISO would be 100. Stockpile is weird. I don't know if they usually have this. I don't recall that. Elite token would be 200, a heroic token would be 300. and I don't know where the 50 hero points falls. I want to say something like 500, and I know the 10 command points is 575. We go further down, and I would say, what, the 4-star is 900 points? The thing is, how much are these wins really worth? So obviously, you know, to get the recruit token with 1 win, you'd say it's worth 50. And, you know, we go down to the heroics, that's 300. So that means they're saying each win should be about worth 40 points, something like that. I'd say 4 times 8 is 32. Hopefully my math's right. And then 16 wins, I guess 6 times 4 is 24, and so yeah, so it's a little bit less, so now we're kind of around like 30-something points per win. So it doesn't seem so bad in 2.5 days to get 16 wins. I think, you know, maybe if I play like 2 PvP matches here and there, you know, just get 8 out in a day. But I'm just wondering, is this more effort or is this less effort? Is this better or is this worse? I know they've made the change to the progression rewards, and they haven't touched the placement rewards. I think that would cause a lot of headache for a lot of PvP players. So I was just taking a look at kind of what I do. So basically, you know, I play 3 times when the PvP starts. Usually that gets me 100 points. And I usually look for matches that are 72 or more. So the way I play, I feel like this is more work, just because I like to cherry pick matches. So I was kind of doing the math for if you were to target 575. So if you wanted to get this 10 command points, how much work would you have to put in? So if you were somehow fortunate enough to only play 72-point matches, that'd be about 8 wins. So it's twice as much work if you're really good at cherry picking these matches. Again, I don't know if that's something that people are really good at. So that's kind of a question that I'm asking too, since I'm not as big on PvP. I took a look at 575 at 50 points, which seems more realistic, but it's still a little bit high. I know that the higher you go, the harder it is to find really high point value enemies. And 50 points is still up there. 50 points is someone who's doing pretty good in like a PvP event. But that would still end up being 11.5 wins, so let's call it 12. So this is still more work, even if you were to average 50 points per win. The only way that this was less, well, not the only way, but I took a look at 25 points. So if you were, I don't know, just really not into like fighting people who had high point scores, it would take you 23 wins at 25 points each to get to 575, which is what the value was for the 10 command points reward. So to me, it's not great for the people who kind of know a little bit about PvP and are looking for progression rewards, not necessarily to place, but kind of like just cherry pick and get some like good rewards. So I'm just kind of curious. I don't think this would affect me too much with PvP. It might be a little bit weird because I know that for the season and for, well, I guess it would depend what they do with the simulator as well, because the simulator is the big thing for me. So I usually play that through, and I usually end up trying to get the new 4-star cover at the end. That usually costs 2,000 points. If they made that into some ridiculous amount of wins, then I'm not quite sure that I would continue doing that, just because it seems like it would be a whole lot of work. So 40 wins to me is quite a lot. I know some people who play like pretty exclusively, but I haven't really boiled down the time per match, but even at like 5 minutes a match, that would be like, what, 200 minutes, so it'd be like 3 hours of consistent fighting, maybe. I guess the only bonus is that wins are wins, so it doesn't really matter the amount of points that you possess, just as long as you get the wins, which also kind of changes the dynamic of this too, because I've noticed myself that I'm not looking for high point fights, I'm just looking for like the weakest roster. So it's an interesting dynamic, and I'm not quite sure, you know, how it would go if they ended up making this the standard for PvP matches. So I'm just kind of curious for some of the bigger PvP players, like what's your response to the progression being changed from points to wins, and would it be terrible if they changed the placement rewards to wins, and what's the value on these things? Do you guys think it's high? Do you guys think it's low? I'm not quite sure. Like where I come out, I think it's a little bit high for what it used to be, because again, if you know what you're doing and you know who to look for or what the point values should be or could be, you can really get to these rewards quicker than the amount of wins they are giving them to you at. So anyways, let me know what you guys think about this new PvP setup, the quote-unquote Infinity Season. I wouldn't mind if this thing stuck around as the thing in between the regular seasons, but currently I still like PvP the way it shakes down. I know that it's frustrating for a lot of people when you build yourself up high and then just get knocked down by other people, but I feel like that's kind of the way a lot of these mobile games are. So maybe this is a way that they're trying to get rid of it, but I feel like it's just going to add like a lot of work, but that's kind of me. So anyways, let me know what you guys think, and thanks for watching, guys. Take care.